Hi everyone, welcome to Technoli Talks. Technoli Talks is our thought leadership podcast series. This is our second episode. Today we have a very important guest, someone who has disrupted the entire healthcare industry in Sri Lanka with a very innovative solution. Arshad Ameer. Hi Arshad,
Hi,
welcome to
Saminda.
Technoli Talks.
Thank you. Thank you for having me
Uh,
here.
Before we get into more about what is Flash Health, let's talk about where it all started, right? From your school days, how you started, how you getting into tech,
Okay.
the journey from school days to Flash Health.
Okay. So I've had a pretty interesting childhood, Saminda. So school days, well, like you would read from, most of these storybooks, came from very, very humble beginnings. My father was an educated man. He ran a hardware business, but business wasn't doing that great, so things were going south. So all lifelong he would tell, look, I don't have assets to give you, but the only asset I will leave you with is education. So that's one thing that he prioritized. So if I was to like quickly run through, yes, I have walked myself to school, walked back, not been able to pay school fees, not had the chance to write exams, and thankful for some of the teachers who really placed trust, came, spoke on my behalf, got me back into the examination halls. But I think every single moment of downfall like that, while it was humiliating at that age, I think it was building a whole new kind of personality within me. It was building resilience. Um, I was the kind of kid who hated going school, to be honest. So by grade 9, I took my O levels on like before going through the normal cycle.
Wow.
So generally, I was not going to write the exams because I was too afraid, to be honest. Even though I'd applied for it, like in you apply in April and then and on November you get the receipt so that you can go write. Until November, I didn't study, and when I got it on November, my dad was like, "Look, just have a go at it. If you fail, that's okay. You have the next year to go." So I went ahead, studied for a month, and little did I know that I had the results of 2 A's, 2 C's, and 3 S's, which was good enough. And I told myself, that's it. I'm not going to go to school anymore. And dad was like, "What do you want to do?" I loved computing. So I was like, I want to do a computer diploma. And I remember him walking me towards a diploma course. Funnily, he only had 300 rupees in his pocket at that time, and he was telling me, "There's only 300 rupees, but the course fees is going to cost 30,000. I don't know how I'm going to get you to do it, but it's my job to make sure I will make you study. It's your job to learn." So yeah, so that kind of got me into this whole HND diploma, and even that takes 2 years to finish. Again, I was this kid who was continuously like, if it's not challenging me, if it's not fast enough, I would get bored. So what I did was I went to the counselor and said, "Look, your classes are in the morning, 9 to 12. My evenings are free. What can I do? Can I join another batch, my senior batch?" She was like, "You can, but that means it's going to be double the coursework."
So you wanted to fast track.
Fast track the
Yeah.
whole thing. So he was like, "If you're willing to do it, go for it." So for a good year, my schedule was like 9 to 12 morning batch, 12 to 4 evening batch, and at 5 I would go to Pizza Hut for call center. So at some point, if you had ordered pizzas, I mean, then if someone had asked extra cheese, that would have been me. So did that, and which a normal diploma would take 2 years, I finished in 1 year. So if you
HND finish in 1 year.
finished in 1 year, so if you did say I had a year from my A levels, actually 2 years of not doing A levels, 1 year of not doing my diploma, like fast tracking it. This eventually resulted me in getting a job in one of these IT hardware companies. I was a business development executive.
Okay.
Um, Even then, I was learning sales, right? I had a knack for computing. I was very, very interested in learning to program, but I didn't know how to.
So it's still nothing about programming, coding, no, nothing about backend, just go and sell.
Just go and sell, just selling hardware devices, right? But I was continuing to apply because Virtue Sa at the time was like a place to be at. Tried applying, never got called in, and I remember there was a vacancy for business process optimization and a couple of other vacancies, which I was like, let's just try for everything, whatever I get, it's fine. And I get called. I was excited, went for the interview. Now I'm this kid that's preparing. I love to prepare before I go in, right? So I was studying about all these business process optimization, what sort of theories, what sort of practical cases, what projects are they working on, so that I can go a little bit more prepared.
Okay. So homework is completed before you facing the real interview.
Yeah. So I go in for the interview, and finally this guy starts asking me about colors and designs and matching concepts, and it was basically human-computer interaction. And finally he was like, write the HTML code on the board. I was like, okay, fine. Luckily, I had learned it during my H&E diploma. That's like basic stuff. So I wrote the code, and he was like, okay, there are 2-3 errors here. I was like, great. And finally, the guy said, you're selected. I was over the moon, Saminda. And then the little voice in my head, when I was opening that door to leave, I closed the door back again, and I was like,
Are you sure?
Yeah, like I was like, you never asked me anything around business process optimization, because I came so prepared for it, and not one question. He was like, business process optimization? This is UI UX designing. I was like, what does that even mean? And that's when he explained it's user interface designing and experience designing. And he was like, you're selected. You've got the knack for it. And I literally had a choice there. Like I was like, something I had not thought of, not knowing what exactly it was, but I was selected for it. So Virtuous actually hired 35 UI UX engineers
at that time.
Yeah, for us, it was the first time ever in the industry for that role. No one was there. And after like 6 months, they let go 30 of them. So only 5 were selected. And luckily, I was the number one that they picked. From there onwards, I started working at Virtusa, gathering experiences. And hey, I love to freelance. I love to learn. Like I said, if it's not challenging me, I get bored. So even though while I was working at Virtusa doing my 9 to 5, Virtusa is more like 9 to 10, 11, 12 in the night, I would come back, and there was this site called Upwork at the time. It's called Odesk before. Now it's called Upwork.
Okay.
It's one good site if people want to earn something on the side while getting paid for it.
That's something all the freelancers use nowadays too.
Yes. So I would apply for a lot. And yeah, I would take on a lot of projects. And I had this theory with me. Say yes first and then figure out how to do it. So I learned more doing freelancing than what I was learning at Virtusa. And it was knowledge that I could bring back into workspace and say, hey, you could do it like this. You could use that session management to solve this problem. And people were always amazed. But to me, it was more like, hey, I'm just putting the effort to learn more because someone is paying me for it. So that's my childhood, Saminda, in terms of, fast tracking things, experiences that were painful at that time. But looking back now, it could have been the best things that happened.
Okay. So Virtusa, then a little bit of, freelancing work here and there. What made you to start something on your own? How the second step?
Yeah. Okay. So while I was at Virtusa, I had an opportunity to work in another company. I mean, I left Virtusa after 4 years. After 4 years, I think it's a really good time to leave because you learned what you could over there. Anything else after that, you're just like waiting for promotions. For me, it was more about impact at that age itself. So while I was freelancing and working at another company, it was an Australian company, I stumbled upon a person called Keith, who handed me the first BA, Business Analyst project. I love to be a BA because it was all about analyzing, process optimization.
Good place for you to understand everything about the business.
Exactly.
From end to end.
Yes, because at Virtusa, you're just programming, you're coding. Someone comes, tells you, build this, you're building. But what's the business context behind it? How is it going to be profitable? What sort of people are you helping? None of these, So he kind of told me, look, write this use case, do the BA for this project. I think he liked it. And then he gave another project, did that as well. And the third time I reached out to him saying, hey, have you got any more projects? And he was like, look, I'm starting a company in Sri Lanka. Would you want to come join? I'm looking for a BAPM, basically business analyst / project manager.
Project manager, both together.
Whereas in the normal industry, those are two separate roles.
Separate roles, yeah.
Well, I think for him, it was a good
deal.
A good deal. So I took that on, and at Creation Application, we were building a lot of startups. We were helping a lot of startups. So that business grew to like 70 plus members, and I became the general manager at a really, really young age over there. They loved the fact that I was taking accountability, talking to the clients, because again, something I'd been doing all along freelancing. So it was nothing new for me.
You had that experience, that exposure.
Because I'd been doing that.
Yeah.
So at creation application, when things were going on there was some issue that came at a board level, like always, something comes up. The partners split, and Keith, the one who actually got me on, had the opportunity. He got hired by Telenor. So Telenor, if you don't know, it happens to be the fourth largest telco in the world.
Okay.
So to give it in context, you have Dialog, Axiata. Axiata is huge, right?
Yeah.
But they are like the 13th largest in the world.
At that time.
Still.
Okay.
Telenor is the fourth largest. So
Okay.
they're like 3 times the size of Axiata. Their presence is across 18 to 20 countries. It's a Norway company. But their golden goose is in Bangladesh, called Grameenphone, with 60 million subscribers. I remember the day when Dialog said we have 5 million.
Quite possible with the population of Bangladesh.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah, 200 million population, right? So he got to be the group CTO, and the funding that Telenor was giving at the time, because they had enough of money that they were making, they wanted to build a digital health platform.
Okay.
Now, they didn't know what the product was, they didn't know what the concept was, they just knew they had to solve it, because at that time, and still is, I'm sure you know about the SDG goals, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the SDG goals is, I think, 3.8 or 3.6. It's about universal health coverage for all. That means 100% health coverage. And by 2030, that is.
Okay.
But the trajectory that we are in right now, Saminda, the momentum, we are far behind. Still behind. And that's the problem Telenor was trying to solve, because it was a real problem of where healthcare could be provided accessibility and affordability for all. So the only way that we realized that we were going to do this at that scale was digital, right? So even in Bangladesh, it was a good test bed because 1, 200 million population. 2, the doctor to population ratio is generally about, I think, 0.1. Sorry, it's 1. But Bangladesh was at 0.7 or something. So it's very less compared to that. So which means that's why you have longer queues, waiting times, all these problems. And third,
so good testing ground for you to, kind of test the whole concept.
Exactly. And third, their NCD problems were off the chart. So non-communicable diseases, cholesterol, diabetic, pressure, hypertension was just off the charts, because people were eating unhealthy foods, weren't aware, just bad lifestyle choices. So when Keith kind of was hired, he rang me up and said, look, there's this opportunity. It's not something you worked on, but I want you to hop on a flight and come meet the CEO. I was like, okay, I've never had this opportunity. Great exposure. We get a chance to fly out. So I went there for a day. Just for
Bangladesh.
To Bangladesh. Okay. So I sat in a room with the CEO. His name was Sajid Rahman. I didn't know about him then. He's the kind of guy who's got like more than 500 startups under his portfolio, invested in Hyperloop, Facebook, Tesla. Man knows his thing. So he was this quiet man in the room, and he was like, why should we hire you when we have 200 million population? Why someone from Sri Lanka?
Very interesting question.
Yeah. And I thought it was the most sensible question.
Yeah.
You would expect someone to ask you, like, tell me about yourself when you walk in an interview, and I get asked, why me? My answer to that was, honestly, I don't know. Anything I tell right now, I'll be bluffing. But I know for a fact that Keith called me here because he saw something in me that even I am yet to find. I believe finding the truth by working towards it, not by waiting for the truth to come find you. He smiled and he said, okay, let's get you started on a contract, 6 months. You can work out of Sri Lanka. The main job for me was build out the processes. So in Bangladesh, they had a call center of 40 doctors. They had like a micro insurance product. So Sri Lanka doesn't have micro insurance yet. It's basically like where if you stay in the hospital for 2 nights, you get paid. Whereas in Sri Lanka, you need a full-on IPD cover, right? And then they were like having a strong network of discount partners. They had all these products, but no one had thought about the user journey. How will the user access them? What happens when, let's say, a corner case, like you fail to get the discount? Then
so that means the entire value chain, that complete platform model was not yet invented.
Not yet. So, and here I was out of Sri Lanka, mapping out the whole process for 200 million people of population in Bangladesh. So we ended up mapping it out, sent it over, and based on that, the product was also built within a period of 6 months, and we took it to market. And on first day, if I remember correctly, we had around 60,000 users join the platform on day one.
Day one, 60,000 users.
60,000 users, because we were leveraging Grameenphone's distribution network. They had 60 million people, right? Subscribers. So 60,000 was like 0.1% in all reality.
Okay.
And we knew, okay, this product's got leg. Then we started building. And Sajid at that point, so once the launch was done, it became a real business, right? So then Telona was like, okay, great. Now we want you to start monetizing it.
Okay.
Before it was just like build something.
Yeah.
Second stage, like in a business.
They saw the bigger picture now.
Exactly. So Sajid kind of reached out to me and said, look, we saw the work that you did during the 6 months. We would like you to stay out of Bangladesh and build this. At that time, my siblings, my brother was in Dubai, sister was in Canada. So my parents were here alone and I didn't want to do that because end of the day, I had to take care of them. I told them, look, I'm not going to be able to come. If you have any other offer, I'm happy to look at, but I can't stay in Bangladesh. So they formulated something called 212, which is 2 weeks in Bangladesh, 1 week in Sri Lanka, 2 weeks back there.
Okay.
So for a good 4 years, I was living out of a suitcase. Now, coming back to your question of why I started FlashHealth during this, the precursor to all of this was when I was flying back and forth, I would always have to take medication for my parents. So when they are here, no one's taking care of them.
Okay.
So they would always be like, can you bring this medicine? Can you do that? Oh, I am not feeling well. I'll be like, I'll come back home and I'll take you. So in one flight, when I was going back, actually, I've gotten off on the flight and I was going towards the apartment. It was like chaotic, it was trafficy. That's how Bangladesh is, unfortunately. I was like, what if someone could just deliver these meds? I'm sure it's such a simple thing. Why hasn't people really looked at a solution like this and made it like really accessible and affordable? And I told myself in that traffic after a long flight, one day when I leave Bangladesh, I'm going to build something for Sri Lanka.
This is where that whole the thought process behind FlashHealth.
It was out of a personal.
So it was like, did you see an opportunity or you had that that you had the need to solve a problem that you saw in the society, that you can do something for the society?
I think it was a mix of all, Saminda, because I was like, if my parents, all these thoughts ran, if my mom and dad are struggling, how many other parents are struggling?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If I have not heard about this, being in the tech space and being in Sri Lanka, if I don't know about this, clearly there's an opportunity for it. And third, I was like, man, how many people's lives can we impact? Because I was doing that in Bangladesh and I was seeing the results of it. I was like, if only I'm helping this country, what am I doing to my country? These three things kind of, really started a flame that started lighting in me. So when Bangladesh's course came to an end, where we exited that business to Dr. Yunus's foundation, which is Grameen Foundation, who is also the interim Prime Minister of Bangladesh today, and he's a Nobel Prize winner.
Yeah.
Came back here and I was like, right, I'm going to start this, but I didn't know where to start, how to start.
So
soul thought behind,
and now you have to think of how to build from here.
Yeah.
You have the idea.
Yes.
That's it.
Had the learnings from Bangladesh, did so many mistakes, so many learnings.
Okay, you had the experience, exposure, and the idea. Now you have to, from here, you have to start building.
It.
Yeah.
So that was the whole idea, to answer your question in terms of how FlashHealth kind of came to thought.
For people who doesn't know the entire full scope of FlashHealth, right? I know you have came a long way from the beginning, right? So FlashHealth, where is it right now, and how far it has grown?
Okay.
So in terms of the scope, in terms of features, in terms of that ecosystem who was connected, can you explain little more?
Sure. So one of the learnings I had out of the whole Bangladesh experience was we went doctor call first. Free doctor calls first. We can get in touch with our doctors.
It's like the first advice.
Yeah, like our Sri Lanka first advice. Yeah. But the problem I saw in that was human beings psychologically believe when you physically interact with something, not when you have someone to pick up over the phone and call. It's a great feature. It's a great concept, yes. But psychologically, you want the doctor to touch and feel you and then diagnose your problem.
Okay.
So when I started here, I said first feature we are going to do is not those. We are going to start with medicine delivery. Because why? It's the only way where I get a chance to physically give something to the user.
Okay. When was this in terms of timing?
That's a great question. So one day before COVID.
Okay.
I started the business literally one day before COVID.
Okay.
I mean, before that, I was conceptualizing Saminda because I did my MBA when I was here. My dad was like, do an MBA.
Okay.
We want you to do an MBA. I was like, what am I going to learn more than the 4 years I learned building a great business over there?
This is exactly somewhere February 2020, I would say.
Yeah, somewhere about then, right? 2019, I think before that, 1 year, I was doing my MBA, right? So the thesis, I was like, if I'm going to do an MBA, it better be worth it. So the thesis I wrote was on FlashHealth.
Okay.
So I was like the ground study, the business plan, everything was my thesis. And I did it with that passion because I'm going to turn this into an actual business. So when that was done, that's like the moment I was done, got graduated, and I was like, now it's time to start. It was literally one day before COVID, and the next day COVID hit. And that's when I thought medicine delivery, good way to start. People were going into crisis. We didn't have an app. We didn't have a pharmacy. Nothing. I just had myself and 2 other members from my team, Rookie, who was a part of my MBA program, and my brother who had come down from Dubai. We said, we're going to do this. Tried going to NMRA, but then at that point, there was no regulations for medicine delivery. But funnily, there was a company called HealthNet who was doing it.
Okay.
Went to HealthNet and tried to get them to be the service provider while we be the front end of the customers because we knew how to change behavior. They said, yeah, great. And the mistake I made then, Saminda, was I told all the things out. So they literally copied the idea next day and
They started.
They tried to, but it didn't go far because there was the operational element which they failed to deliver on that. But anyways, cutting long story short there, that led me to go to an MRA, get insights. There were certain compliance reasons why they weren't allowing. But unfortunately, Sri Lanka is the kind of market where it's easier to say sorry than ask for permission.
Okay.
Right? So I was like, let's start. Let's face the problem afterwards. If worst case they will do is shut us down, that's okay. But we would have done something good for the people.
Sometimes you have to take a risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we started with medicine delivery. So the first, I would say 500 deliveries, I personally delivered it, myself and my brother. So during COVID, everyone was inside the house. The whole of COVID, I was on the street delivering medicines to people.
So co-founder of FlashHealth basically delivered medicine by himself.
Yeah.
And but in a way, that's the best experience then you can get it, right?
Oh
you understand all the pain points of the customer and
yes.
you know how to fix it. You really know where to...
Every single questions that get asked, we knew what the pain points were. Because one thing that I learned, again, there was a learning out of the whole Bangladesh experience, was that it's called Gemba watching, right? So Gemba watching is something that they would make us do. We would go into the most chaotic streets, like to a normal, like, Podi day, they would sell our digital health sachets over there. So we were asked to just stand in the side, not interact with the customer, not say a word, and just see how they are selling it. So we would learn. So I used that same technique here. So I was doing the delivery, but I was also learning as to what they were looking for, what the questions were being asked. And after that is where we started building technology around it. Okay. Most people make the mistake of building tech and then trying to amend the process accordingly.
You build the platform and you go and sell it.
Yes.
Maybe what customer actually wants and what you have is completely different thing.
Exactly.
And then you have to pressurize the customer who come and buy it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a bit of a uphill climb, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of built technology towards the customer's pain points. Like some key features are like allowing for separate brands. Some people didn't want different brands. Some people were very brand specific. And when it came to online, the second biggest question was, I need to know the price before going ahead. So we built in a request code functionality.
Okay.
Simple stuffs that were really, promising the
now
user.
Now that you have that feature, right? That the customers can kind of upload the prescription, the request for a code.
Yes.
So then they will send you the code. You have to approve it to go to the next step.
Correct. Yeah. But funnily, Saminda, that feature, we built it for that, right? Okay. So when you like really understand a pain point and build it, you build it for just pricing. Yeah. But today people are using that feature just to check available medicine in the market. They don't need
pricing.
And the pricing. They don't need to go to a pharmacy. Like there was this case like where there were no medications, right?
Yeah. So you see a lot of people are coming and checking the prices, but they never buy.
No, they do. They actually do. But then the feedback we get is, other places I tried across 10 pharmacies, I didn't get it. You guys had it. That's because maybe someone else had looked for it. That's data for us and we stocked it, right? So like we were seeing that feature being used in different ways. So medicine was like a really grounding feature which allowed for a physical interaction.
Okay.
And
so the first feature was like kind of an online pharmacy.
Online pharmacy. Online pharmacy. Now, from there onwards, we thought, okay, we are serving the NCD customers. We have, well, anyone who needed medication. Based on the medication movement, we know who is having cholesterol, diabetic. The second thing that those kind of users wanted were lab tests. They would go to a lab, they would have to wait for their turn, get then poked into with the pins, with the insulins, and that would take time, right? You have to wait there for your turn. I was like, that's another problem. And again, that too, because I remember taking my mom out and she wanted to get a test. And I was like, this is so hard, like really hard. I'm wasting so much of my time here. And then I thought, surely there'll be a home lab service. So I started looking for partners, and finally partners are there. They do it. They just don't know how to market it.
Okay.
Right? So we spoke to a couple and we started onboarding lab partners. So today we have the likes of Durdans, Navaloka, Asiri, Hemas,
almost
Forte.
everyone, like
Yeah,
most popular ones are
Healthline.
there with you.
Most of them are here. And we are also expanding our reach. We recently signed on Vayamba Labs, who covers the Kurunagala, Puttalam districts.
Okay.
And the idea was that for a NCD patient, if you needed a lab test, don't waste your time. The phlebotomist can come home, collect your blood sample, because do you know, for the 6,000 kind of lab test that is done at the lab, all they need is your blood. That's it. And that's why you're going to the hospital, just to give your blood.
Yeah.
And the funny thing
Otherwise,
is,
you have to go to the hospital, do the payment, wait for, your turn
it's
comes, and that's
just too hard.
Yeah.
So we kind of built that in as well. So again, which allows them to now do lab tests. And generally, now then we realize, once the lab report comes, people needed advice on that report. That's when we build doctor call, first advice.
First advice.
Yes. So it was like a very, step-by-step process, not going all in at once. Now, we built these 3 features, and then we realized, okay, this is great, but there's still one problem, which most people don't tend to realize when they're building a digital product. Regardless of how sophisticated your platform is, if you don't figure out a way to get them coming into the app again, they'll forget about you.
Okay.
Like, how many apps are on your phone that you never use?
Many,
Right? So that's a retention problem, because
for some I pay subscriptions also.
Exactly, right?
Only when I see the bank statement, I know that I have subscription like this.
See, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So we thought about this, right? We were like, if you're going to build something, we want people to use it at least once a month, or at least once in a week. You have to open the app.
Okay. So you want a kind of recurrent customers coming in.
At least open the app. Don't even place the order, but use it, because the more you're using is the more remembrance. It's called that's where behavior change really happens. So we built this feature called Move, Burn, Earn. Right now, normal research would show that a rewarding mechanism will improve customer loyalty. No doubt about it. But will it improve customer utilization? Answer is no, because just loyalty without actual utilization is pointless.
Yeah.
Right? So we kind of said, look, if you're going to get people to utilize, the only way for us to do is, rather than saying we are rewarding anything else, loyalty, we are going to give you money back. Actual money, right? So we built this feature where if you walk for like 3,000 steps, 3 rupees, 5,000, 5 rupees, all the way up until 10,000.
This is that burn and earn feature,
Move,
right?
burn, earn, yes. So it stops for like 10 rupees per day. And you can accumulate that over 30 days, which is $300. Not a lot of money, but $300 is good enough for you to get Panadol, Samahan, vitamin C, right? All these basic OTC can be gotten out of it. So I have actually, and funnily, I have seen users, when they even hit 157 rupees, they are redeeming it and buying Samahan packets or a vitamin C or like a balm. And they are paying 200 rupees for the delivery. Some are paying 400 rupees for the express delivery just to get the 150 free bucks, right?
Yeah.
But that's engagement. That's retention. And because of this, our retention rate grew some. In the normal average for the market, expectation is 22% retention. Ours is at a staggering 72%.
So you wanted to bring all these lifestyle features to it, and it's more like just more than like a healthcare application. It's like a more lifestyle application, like people would come and use it on daily basis.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And if you're putting effort to stay healthy, your healthcare should be a little bit cheaper, no?
Yes.
A little bit, no?
Yeah, they deserve it.
They deserve it.
They deserve it.
Right?
Yeah.
So we kind of did that. And we didn't stop there. End of the day, people also love their names on a leaderboard. It's called the gamification narrative.
Okay.
So we kind of put a leaderboard. And today, we have more than 3,000 Sri Lankans who are actively competing. And I say
Wow.
actively, they are calling our hotline and telling my data didn't get sync. Like that's the level of commitment they have.
Okay.
The reason being the top 3 gets a free health checkup or a significant medicine discount. So like this kind of builds a community concept for us.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
we're building our own little community.
Yeah.
So
Nowadays, that's the way to go, right?
Correct.
You can't just be a one single product and people want to come and buy
No.
whenever they want. It won't. Okay,
No,
you
it
have to be
won't.
engaged. You have to be connected to all the other partners as well. Now, in your case, you have like basically starting from like patients. Obviously, you're one of the customer side.
Yeah,
Then you have hospitals, doctors, labs.
Yeah.
Right. It's a whole lot of community. It's a
an
kind of a
ecosystem.
digital ecosystem, right?
It's an ecosystem. Yes.
So what are the benefits of being in an ecosystem for people who are like interested into more into digital transformation? Because one,
Sure.
this is for an example, if you look at Facebook, now Facebook has about I think 3.2 billion subscribers,
Yeah.
right? And also adding one or two customers or one or two subscribers won't make any difference to Facebook cost as well. So then that's one aspect, right? And you have the reach, you have the accessibility, you can provide accessibility to a lot of community. Explain this whole digital ecosystem in terms of
Sure.
healthcare.
Sure. So with these verticals we have, so medicine, lab tests, doctor consultations. Today let's look at a real world scenario. Let's say you fall sick, you have a cold or a cough, right? You will take a day off from work. You will have to go to the doctor, wait for your turn over there. Maybe the doctor comes in the evening 3 only, so the whole day you're in bed. You go get it. He will give a prescription. Some doctors will dispense medicines, but then again, some of them are just dispensing basic OTC. It's really not solving a problem. Or they'll write a prescription. They say maybe you have to go to a lab test. Then you're going to a lab. You're getting a lab test done. You're giving a sample. And probably nurse will say, come and collect the report in the evening if you need the report, or we will WhatsApp it to you. Once that comes in the evening, you have to again now go channel the doctor, show the report, and then he will kind of give you a prescription to go to a pharmacy. Saminda, you're sick and you're being passed on like
and still
football.
not over, right? I mean,
And
if you
still
go
not
to some of
over.
the pharmacies, you have to wait there for about, you have to give the prescription, go
Yes.
pay, and
You know the amount of time.
Yeah.
The average wait time at a pharmacy is around 38 minutes. Some pharmacies it's quick.
I have personal experience. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So you're sick and you're like passed on, right? So that's the world right now. Now take FlashHealth with digital transformation. You're sick. You're seated in the couch. With a click of a button, you get connected with our doctor. And we have doctors on our payroll who will immediately answer. If we don't answer, we'll call you back. You do your diagnosis. If it is just normal cough, cold, our doctors are trained to understand. If it's pediatric, we recommend to go physical doctor because children have to be dealt differently. But if it's a normal case, we'll be like, okay, you need this. If we have doubts of dengue, we'll be like, sir, stay there. We'll send you a phlebotomist. Phlebotomist will come home. They'll collect the sample. By evening, the report comes to you. Our doctors will call back, right? Generally, you have to call doctor. Our doctors will call back, give you advice on it, and be like, you need this medicine. Sir, stay home. We'll send you the medicine. So you never left the house. You are relaxing. And you got
Your
medicine,
entire
labs,
customer experience is like become a very
streamlined.
Yeah.
And you're at home. And while doing all of this, right, all your healthcare data is getting structured. That's the other big problem in Sri Lanka, Saminda.
You don't have data.
Your data is massively fragmented. If you go to RCD, for example, and you give your blood test, your certain blood type, and you go to, let's say, Navaloka, they'll again take your blood to check your blood type. Now imagine the West.
Yeah.
You get...
But if you have the history of reports, history of medication that you took, all the prescriptions, everything
Doctor's
on one
notes.
single application, and even you're unconscious, it is easy for someone else, if he has like an emergency access code or whatever, that they can
Correct.
access and automatically start treatment, right?
That's what the NHS is in the West. You can get operated in London, go to Cheltenham the next day. They will know who the doctor, what the medication, what the diagnosis, symptoms, everything.
Yeah.
So we wanted to build something like that over here. And we're giving control back in the user's hand. We are not letting even the doctors can only access that data during a consultation.
Okay.
So it's not like your data is like really, really
So
private.
data privacy is like...
It's one of the fundamental values that we build in our ecosystem chain. Privacy all along. So with this, it's all great. Now, one thing that became really more interesting, Saminda, this actually won us an award in the global stages at the World Summit Awards. This was run by United Nations, and this is across 180 countries.
Okay.
So countries like Germany, Australia, New Zealand, all were participating. we became the runner-up winner for the digital health solution called Cashless OPD.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So, thanks to my team, I would say, who did a lot of work behind it. So, cashless OPD works in a way, Saminda, where this is the fourth vertical to the medicine delivery. Like, all of this is great. Medicine, labs, doctor consult, great.
Okay.
Convenience. But the fourth element to that is financing it. People in this economic condition struggle to finance it. When we looked hard and long, the solution was right in front of our face, Saminda. Corporates are paying for insurance, right? But it's extremely, extremely cumbersome for you to get a reimbursement back. Unlike like now you have companies like SoftLogic who does it in 2 days, which is great.
Yeah.
But then again, they are taking your money and paying it back to you with a lot of scrutiny.
Okay.
Right? So for example, Saminda, you have let's say 100 staff. You're paying 10,000 rupees OPD for them per year. That's $1 million bucks you need to pay upfront to the insurer, right? And two problems there. If the employee leaves the organization, you lose the money. If they underutilize, you don't get any return back, right? We saw this as a problem. So we were like, okay, what if we can flip the narrative? So what cashless OPD does, you don't have to pay that whole 1 million premium upfront. Keep the money with the corporate. So corporates love it. It's better cash flow, right? And what we tell them is just tell us how much to allocate for the employee digitally. So it's on the same app. We put you under a corporate package, right?
Okay.
So then you will have, let's say, Saminda under your account, 5,000, 10,000 digitally allocated. Now you have two options, Saminda. You can either go out to any pharmacy, any lab, any doctor, pay money from your pocket, no problem, and submit the bills. And again, like Uber, we will show you. Today in the insurance industry, you don't know what is happening to your claim.
Yes.
In ours, it's like Uber, we will show you. Submitted, reviewed, this is the feedback from the reviewer. Why was it partially approved? Why is it rejected?
So status of your claim is fully
transparent.
kind of tracked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we do the fund disbursement also. Straightforward, no. Manual claim. You bought outside. But the part we won the award for was the cashless front. Now you decide to buy medicine from us. Decide to buy labs from us or doctor consult. You don't pay a dime from your pocket.
Okay.
It's cashless. So there was this one customer on the 24th, she fell ill. She didn't have how salaries, they manage it now. So she spoke to our doctor. We thought it was dengue, sent the labs, got the report. She did a follow-up consult and then we sent medicines. Luckily she didn't have dengue. She did all of this without paying money, without submitting a claim while she was at home.
Wow.
True cashless. And funnily, while doing this, corporates who gave the benefit, they've saved on average 35 to 40% because the underutilized claims, if an employee left, all that started remaining. So they had money to reallocate budgets to employees who really needed it. And along with that, what we also realized, because our system is so systematic and it's tracked, we were able to give detailed insights to the corporates of, one is how much went on pharma, how much went on lab. Because right now it's an investment the corporates are making. They don't know where that money is going, right? We were able to tell where it's going. If it's family, for family member, how much spent on family member. But I think the most valuable part that came out of it was something called a clinical risk assessment, where our doctors would review the structured data and it would tell, in your organization, you have 25% of cardiac issues, 32% of mental illness problems, 14% of diabetic conditions. So
for certain organizations, their workforce is their biggest asset, right? If there's a medical risk to those critical employees, of course, they really have to look at it because it has to be one of the top item on the agenda in their board.
Yeah, absolutely. It's your resource that's bringing all your revenue in.
Yeah.
And if you don't know your risks in that, it's a big problem. So our platform is able to give that level of detailed insight. So I call it a win-win-win. You as an employee will get access to healthcare free. It's the dream, right? Not money never leaving your pocket, which will reduce our out-of-pocket expenditure in Sri Lanka, which is at a 76% right now.
Okay.
Even though we have universal health coverage, out-of-pocket expense is high. This reduces it. 2, corporates will save on average 35%, right? And 3, you will have detailed insights to your organization, what's happening. And for us, it's about giving a service with impact. Because they say, the impact is something where it echoes even after the noise stops.
Of course, it's not all about the money, right? It's about the impact that you make to the society. So, I think, like you rightly explained, that the entire community that involved in that ecosystem is benefiting, not only one person, not only patient, the corporates,
Everyone.
insurance partner, anybody. You, that's the beauty of digital transformation as well, right? Some of the people think that when you come up with a new application or platform, most of the people will lose jobs, right? And only that organization will survive, which is a completely misconcept. Where
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are new avenues for employment.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So much, Saminda.
Okay. So we are getting into the final segment of our talk show. What are the recent news? I saw some fund announcement on LinkedIn. What's you all expanding? What's the latest news?
Yes. So after a long struggle of looking for growth, we finally stumbled upon. I mean, we had people coming knocking our doors, but for us it was about working with the right partner, someone who bought into the vision that we had, because general people invest, want to see an immediate return, whereas you have the far and few who are there for a noble cause, who knows the startup game, who really knows how to push and grow and scale. So yeah, we got some right partners who came along, and finally the Sri Lankan market, when you have the one right person on, the rest follows. So what we intend to do with that, Saminda, is scale, right? Whatever that we're providing in Colombo, the 2-hour medicine delivery, express, we want that to happen across Sri Lanka.
You want to take it to the outstation?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we've already opened our first branch in Ambalangoda, where we will start doing the 2-hour medicine delivery.
Wow.
Plans are there for Gaul, Matara, catch the south coast, because that's where foreigners come as well. And again, it's to show to the foreigners coming to Sri Lanka that healthcare shouldn't be a concern to them. Because there is a stat which people don't talk about, where these foreigners are going into our healthcare institutions, public healthcare institutions, and they're struggling to get the service because of a language barrier.
Oh,
right. So we wanted to solve these problems,
especially in those areas, right? That could be a real problem.
Yes. So again, we wanted to start these problems over there, and we wanted to make sure this gets scaled across Sri Lanka. That's one side of the plan. The second side of the plan is to push cashless OPD across everyone. So we wanted a nation who didn't have to worry about spending for healthcare, because when you do that, Saminda, there's 2 problems you will solve. Again, another problem people don't talk about is medication adherence. Do you know the amount of people that don't buy medicine for the month end because they are waiting for their salary to come?
Oh.
And that medication non-adherence causes way more problems and complexities, especially for NCD patients.
Okay.
When your drugs don't have a proper sequence, continuation, the dosage, then that's why you start needing a higher dose. So that becomes like it's a concern around antimicrobial resistance. Your body gets immune to it, you need higher doses. It's not healthy. Okay. Medication adherence is one, so that gets solved. 2 is the accessibility, right? People sometimes don't go because Durai, Amarui, Polime Innone. With cashless OPD, you're not paying for it and you're not even going for it. Both are coming to your right doorstep. Okay. So this is how we intend to use those funds to grow and really change Sri Lanka's narrative on how primary healthcare should be accessed.
Okay, great. So I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
One is actually for people who are out there, right, who intend to be a founder, to start a kind of a startup, right, on their something on their own. What is the message that you want to give it to them? I know in Sri Lankan context, starting a new business, or implementing a new idea, that's not easy. You have a lot of regulatory barriers, funding requirements, you name it, all the problems. And sometimes the founders has to do not only one job, not the founder's job, the CEO's job, in your case, the medicine delivery, to the accountant, to the marketing person, to the UI UX developer, to everything, right? How to survive, and what is the message that you can give it to them?
Okay, so what I would tell every founder and entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur out there is, passion will only get you started, but the real fuel that will keep you going is resilience. Learn to build resilience. Now, if you ask me how, it's simple. Go play basketball and fail. Go play football, get injured, and learn to stand up again. Go be with friends or people who may put you down. Even funnily, it's okay, but you will learn to again bring yourself up and hold yourself back up again. These little nuances in society, without our knowledge, is building resilience. So the more it's a numbers game, Saminda. The more you are exposed to those situations and environments, the more resilience you're building. Because end of the day, passion will never
So
fade.
everything is a learning.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is a
You
learning.
get through one crisis, you know how to face the next one, the similar next one, right?
Correct. Because resilience is all about holding on, in my aspect.
Yeah.
When shit hits the roof, when things go wrong, when your passion is not doing what you wanted to, don't give up. Hold on. That's resilience, right? So if you build that, I think any aspiring entrepreneur, any dreamer, any inventor, success is just yet to happen to them. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Okay. That's an important message for everyone out there who want to start something on their own. Final question. You were someone who was already challenged the status quo, right? You wanted to do the 2-year degree in 1 year, and always it's not finding a shortcut, but you wanted the fastest way to achieve your goals, right? So people who are just finishing A levels, so who are just trying to start the first job, we would say, right? What is the message that you can give it to them, right? Even for someone who's kind of studying now, right? There are a lot of technologies changing.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, what AI can impact to the job market, right?
Yeah.
Even for a software engineer, it's not quite sure what their future would be, right? So what kind of message that you can give it to the future generation?
The message I would give them basically is this: don't wait, just bloody start. People will tell, do your A level, then start, do your diploma, then start. I will learn this first, then I'll start. All of that in a form or fashion is an excuse. You really want to go do out something? Start right now. Start ugly, start incomplete, start without any knowledge, but start, right? And once you start, you will figure it out. The world is done in a way. The world will revolve around you. You just have to believe it. And once it starts revolving and you start seeing things happen, you will know that you're on the right path. Because you will feel you will face problems, but there will be resilience in you to keep going, right? So anyone who is even studying, you have an idea, don't worry about can it be monetized, will it be big, do I have the resources, will it work? Just start. Even if you fail doing it, you will learn something out of it that you can use for your next venture or the venture after that. Or one day you get into corporate, all that knowledge will bring you at least 4 steps ahead of the guy who did the conventional model of studying. So just start.
Okay. Thank you very much, Arshad. Thank you very much for being here and sharing especially your humble beginning up to the founder of a very innovative digital platform which can disrupt the entire healthcare market. And all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you, Saminda. Thank
So
you for having me.
that's the end of our second episode of Technoli Talk show. We'll meet you with an interesting founder or a business leader soon. Thank you.